Hello everybody, I'm Zian Wong. Welcome to this channel. What is your main problem when you study biology? This is the first question that I usually ask my biology students during my class. Okay, some of them might say that, Teacher Wong, I have those problems that to remembering a lot of facts. In biology, there are a lot of facts to remember. Yes, that's true. Second thing, some of them might say that even if I try very hard to remember, it's like after 1 or 2 days, I forgot everything. Yes, that might be true too. Some of them even say that there are too many words that I can't see the linkage between this topic and another topic. If that's the problem for you, I'm going to share with you one secret weapon that I use with my students to test their knowledge until which layer that I call it as 3-layer knowledge test. Okay, using this test, you're going to know which layer are you in so that you can improve further. Before I explain further, give me some time to introduce about myself if you don't know me yet. Okay, I'm Zian Wong. I'm a biology tutor and at the same time, I'm a pharmacist. I have been practicing as pharmacist in hospital for the past 8 to 9 years. And at the same time, I've been teaching for biology for 2 to 3 years. So I can apply the knowledge, the biological knowledge very well into our daily life and in medical field. So that's how I link the biology and pharmacy together. Okay, so currently I have a lot of students, mostly international students from A-levels, IGCSE, IB, and etc. throughout Penang. Okay, let's come back to our lesson today. Okay, just now I told you that I'm going to share with you one secret weapon, right, that I usually use with my biological student. Okay, so that secret weapon, I call it 3-layer knowledge. For example, that I will use Benedict test today to test your knowledge about biology. Okay, let us start. What is Benedict test? Okay, before you proceed, you can click the button pause for a while and test your knowledge. Okay, usually my student will tell me that Benedict test is a test to test the presence of sugar. Okay, that's correct. That's, I say, half of a layer. Okay, that is a very superficial knowledge. Why I say half of a layer? Because Benedict test is to test the presence of not only sugar. To be specific, it is reducing sugar. Okay, that's first layer of knowledge. Then how is that second knowledge? Second layer of knowledge. Usually I will ask them, so how are you going to carry out the Benedict test? Or do you know how Benedict test works? Okay, how are you going to confirm that there's a presence of reducing sugar? That's second layer of knowledge. Okay, in this case, for Benedict test, reducing sugar usually react with Benedict reagent, and if you notice here, we have to put under water bath to have some warm temperature to catalyze the reaction, and as a result of that, you will have oxidized sugar, and at the same time, you have the copper, okay, brick red precipitate. So the keyword for Benedict test is that brick red precipitate. That's to confirm the presence of reducing sugar. Okay, the principle behind of it that you must know. Okay, why is that? So that they will have brick red precipitate. Okay, in Benedict solution, in fact, they actually have copper 2+, which is blue in color. In this reaction, sugar catalyze the reaction, catalyze the Benedict copper 2+, and reduce it to become copper 1+, Cu+, and it is brick red. Okay, and the thing is not soluble. That's why they call it brick red precipitate. Okay, until this layer, we are calling it as second layer of knowledge. Then you might ask, what's the most important layer, the third layer knowledge that you test about Benedict test? Okay, in this case, I'm going to ask you some application problem. Do you ever think that what's so important about Benedict test? Okay, how are you going to use the Benedict test into daily life? Any idea? Okay, you might pause the video for a while and try to think before you resume back to see what's my explanation. Okay, so in this case, where do you think that we can use Benedict test? Okay, come back. Okay, Benedict test is to test, we come back to first layer, is to test the presence of reducing sugar, right? Okay, so come back to the second layer, you already understand how it works. And third layer, how are we going to apply? Okay, in this case, that usually Benedict test can use to test presence of sugar at, you can test with your urine, yes, right? So we call it as urine test. What's so important that you test the presence of sugar in urine? So if let's say you pour in the Benedict solution with your urine and you got brick red precipitate, so what does it indicate? What does it tell you? Okay, you might think that, okay, there might be a problem with your urine because normally you might not have glucose in your urine. So that medical condition, we call it as glycosuria, which is a common problem for diabetes, right? They might have any other disease that's contribute to glycosuria. So, okay, that's called third layer knowledge. Okay, how are you going to apply? But in fact, after I tell you this, you have to query and you have to ask, is that true? Is that a real practice that people using Benedict test as urine test for glucose in daily life? Is that true? You might think, okay, you might think that when I bring my grandma, when I bring my mother to hospital and test, but that's not the case. They are not using Benedict test. So what's the challenges? What's the problem? What is the most important big problem that you use Benedict test to test the presence of glucose in urine, right? Okay, that tests your knowledge. Which layer are you now currently, right? We are in the third layer. When you are at third layer, you must have a very good first and second layer, then only you can apply your knowledge, right? So try to think back. Okay, keyword here, reducing sugar, right? Okay, so just now in our discussion, we discussed that, okay, Benedict test is to test the presence of reducing sugar. Yes, glucose is one of the reducing sugar that might turn to become brick red precipitate. But what happens if there are other things inside your urine that can cause this reaction, right? That's called interference, okay? In fact, there are a lot of things that actually can cause the Benedict solution to catalyze to become brick red precipitate, okay? That kind of thinking that you need to think, okay? In reality, the urine test that they use in over-the-counter, usually we call it as sequential enzyme reaction. Sequential, okay? Sequential from the word sequence means that they are using first, second, third sequence of enzyme. Okay, in this case, I mean, commonly in over-the-counter urine test strip, how does it work? Okay, so it's that they have the enzyme to catalyze the glucose into gluconic acid and hydrogen peroxide, which is catalyzed by glucose oxidase. Okay, this is the enzyme. This is first reaction. For second reaction, hydrogen peroxide is react with potassium iodide, which is on the strip 2. Then this reaction is catalyzed by peroxidase. And the second reaction that causes the change in color, okay, that's the rationale, that's the principle behind the test strip. How does it work? And why do they not using Benedict test nowadays to test the presence of glucose in your urine? Okay, I hope this lesson helped you in understanding your knowledge. And with this method, you can apply it a lot of topics with these 3 layers knowledge to test your understanding about biology. If you find that this video helped you, please remember to like and share this video to a lot of your friends, because by sharing the knowledge, you can actually learn more. And we have a link above. If you are interested in A-level biology course, you can click above and we can help you. Okay, I will see you in next lesson. See you. Bye.